Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw. On today's episode, not only are we going to be answering your questions, we got a lot of news to talk about, including backstage reactions to Vince McMahon losing control of creative in WWE. Also, we're going to talk about a certain Viper who might be coming back soon. You guys, this is Randy Orton. Like, I don't even know why I'm coy about it. This is
Randy are there any other Vipers in WWE that I'm aware of?
There's Santino used to do the Cobra.
That's a Cobra.
Different type of snake. Also, we're going to talk about,
Are all poisonous snakes classified as vipers, though?
I don't think so. Isn't Viper like a specific thing? I think Viper is a specific
But you have
thing.
to be a poisonous snake to be a viper.
Yeah, I think all vipers are poisonous. I think that's true. Yeah. Anyways, we're also going to talk about new titles. Ooh, I love new titles. You know what I'm going to do for the thumbnail today? I'm going to go on the E2K and then find a really cool looking tag title in the community creations. I'm going to use that for the thumbnail so people are like, whoa, where'd they get the image from? Guess what? It's just from the video game.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Smart. That's what you are.
Yeah, some days. Smart. It's Friday, so I'm bringing a little bit extra juice.
It's Friday.
Friday, you got that right.
We didn't play basketball this morning, so you got a little extra oomph to you today, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When we play basketball, I'm wiped. Completely wiped. Yeah.
Same.
Anyways, let's talk about good old Vince McMahon and him taking the he ain't got no juice anymore.
No, he's collecting nothing but L's these days, seemingly.
Yeah, right.
So in the latest, this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer has more on Vince McMahon being marginalized within WWE, especially as it relates to creative. I'm jealous that you have coffee and I don't. I'm just going to put that out there.
Sorry, man. Sorry. I also got this in a brand new Friendo Club spooky mug. It's Friendo Club logo in black and white, but then it's got a bunch of blood spatter on it, like an episode of Dateline. You can get this right now at friendoshop.com. Use code SPOOKY to get 20% off. What did Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer himself, have to say about the marginalization of Vince McMahon?
So let's see what he has to say. Quote, almost everyone would say it's more of a good thing than a bad thing. Mm-hmm. From those with knowledge of the creative situation prior to the merger going through and McMahon taking a medical leave, he was making changes in the shows, particularly Raw, fairly regularly. At times they were viewed as positive, and at times they were not. But they did get in the way of the long-term vision, long-term of the creative team. Much of the talent, certainly most of whom we've heard from, felt it was better when McMahon wasn't involved and were loyal to Levesque. While one can point to Raw ratings being well down from last year, that's largely due to football competition being stronger. SmackDown and NXT remain strong in the ratings. The arena business remains strong. Big events are selling tickets quickly at continually higher prices, and many markets continue to set gross records. To the public, the only real difference would be that a lower percentage of what is advertised in advance for television changes without McMahon in the mix. Some still changes that is not injury related, but is less than before. Ultimately, one would have to classify the move as the best thing for the company and business, but it still remains that for the first time since 1982, Vince McMahon is working with the boss, and he is not in full control.
Was that a Fastlane replay we just got there?
It was Fastlane. So Dave has more here. So he says there are people jump at the conclusion that McMahon got played.
Oh, we put that in our thumbnail.
We did, losing control of the company while without a sale, and the value of his stock is being along the same lines of what it was prior to the merger. So he didn't get a giant sum of billions, just merged with the idea his own stock wealth would increase greatly, which could happen, but has not at this point. One person close to the situation said that Emmanuel has a vision for how he can use the worldwide notoriety of McMahon, and that vision does not include him micromanaging the weekly television shows.
So we had talked about this earlier in the week when, we were going over the McMahon stuff, and that was sort of what I felt Ari Emanuel was going to keep Vince McMahon around for, just basically because he's Vince McMahon, because he's got that name. And when you're cutting deals, man, they're in deal cutting mode right now. We got this Elimination Chamber coming up in Perth. No doubt they got a lot of money for that.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen this at Clash of the Castle and other places where, the local tourism boards, I guess, the government's municipalities.
Pony up millions to lure WWE to their vicinity, their municipal area.
Right.
In hopes to not only having a large wrestling show, but drawing tourists to that region because of wrestling show. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Big shot of revenue into the arm of the, the localities.
Local economy, totally, yes.
Right. And that makes sense. Like, everybody knows who Vince McMahon is. He is, he has that name recognition in the entertainment business world that they can absolutely take advantage of. It's like, oh, hey, you guys want to talk to Vince McMahon? Yeah, sure. And then he comes in with his weird mustache and closes the deal. Like, I could totally see that. And yeah, the funny I do appreciate this last paragraph here, though, because Meltzer kind of frames this as there are people jumping to the conclusion that McMahon got played. And then he goes on to specify exactly why that is, because I don't see this as any other way. The idea that, if we get this deal done, the stock price will shoot through the roof and I'll be, a billionaire multiplied by a couple more from what I was.
Flush with wealth. Yes.
But there's no guarantee. Like, I guess he thought that would be a guarantee that would happen. And in fact, it hasn't.
No.
And in fact, Ari Emanuel's had to explain publicly why that hasn't happened. And one of the reasons he gave is because of Vince McMahon and his deal where he could sell the stocks immediately and flood the market with stocks, thereby driving the price down. So basically, Vince gave his company away.
Basically.
For right now, nothing. Now, if the stock goes up, which I guess I probably is, but I don't know. Like, with the TV rights deal not coming in as high as people thought it would be. I mean, I know business is good right now.
Yeah, but
things change. I mean, this is the value of the company and therefore the value of the stock is based off of kind of uncharted, definitely fluid metrics, because we don't know how much longer the rights fees, like, are they gonna stabilize? Are they gonna go up? Or in this case, as we saw, they didn't come in as much as they thought. It was an increase, but not as big of an increase as they were hoping
as
for.
Wall Street was hoping for. Yes.
Which might have been unrealistic. And this has come back to the ground. Now, if Raw somehow, some way gets some killer deal that does, increase, I'm sure to their expectations, then maybe, but I don't know, maybe Nick Khan should have been putting out really low expectations. He was putting out some big numbers whenever he was doing interviews. Oh, we're going to get a 1.5, a two times
multiplier. Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And it's like, shouldn't you just go out there and say, well, we don't know what the landscape is going to be like, so we're hoping for the same thing,
and I don't know, because that was all in the lead up to the prospective sales. Maybe they were really puffing their chest up, saying we're going to get a huge deal to make the company look potentially more attractive to prospective buyers, or in this case, mergers. Unless Vince thought he had something that was pretty ironclad that he was going to remain in control of the company, and that's why he went with the Endeavor deal as opposed to other prospective buyers. And then, he gets the rug pulled out from under him.
Yeah.
I don't know why else. I mean, because financially, on paper, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for him. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for WWE stockholders, because they're getting a stock swap.
I mean, the only other thing I could think is look at where McMahon was before and look at where he is now. Before, he was literally out of the company.
Yeah.
And now he's in the company. That's all I can think. Like, he's not doing the thing that he really seemingly in the past has really wanted to do, which was affect the product. But I mean, if he's content with being there and being used as, a puppet figure to broker deals, then good on you.
Maybe the hope is, well, I got my foot in the door now. That's the start. And, we've seen him find his way back into power.
Like, did he think there was going to be some sort of cover with these investigations coming up that he would have? But I don't know. I kind of still feel like that's not the case. If these investigations ramp up and there's some gnarly stuff that comes out, you would think it would benefit Endeavor more to dump the toxic waste over the side of the.
You definitely would think so.
So I don't know what the game plan is here. But seemingly, I mean, it does seem like the guy got played, or at the very least had to take a deal that I just don't see how this, I was actually kind of surprised that he didn't outright sell to the Saudis, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know why he wouldn't have if they were offering, and we still don't know how real that deal that was originally reported was.
We have no idea.
I think there was probably some amount of fire to the smoke.
And we don't know what other offers are on the table.
Yeah.
Whether it be mergers in other capacities or outright sales, we don't know.
Like, what was the pitch to Vince from Ari Emanuel? You know what I mean? Like, what was the pitch?
Well, I mean, part of it, I'm sure, is what he said when they made the announcement that if this happens, I want you a part of it.
Yeah, right.
And Vince seemingly right before that, struggling to try to regain control of the company.
But here, that's the thing, though. It wasn't much of a struggle to regain. He just came back. He dumped a bunch of the board members.
I know there's a couple sternly worded letters back and forth, and seemingly he was there. Right. But apparently, maybe that's all it takes in the corporate world. Mm-hmm. A couple of sternly worded letters.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Disregarded,
by the way. Like the board wrote him. They were like, hey, there's some more stuff on the horizon people don't know about. God damn it, pal. I don't care about that. I'm going to put my own board members in.
Yeah, those board members out. He's in. I'm back. I know. It seemed as an outside observer, quite easy for Vince to reinsert himself in a position of power.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I guess at the same time, we don't know how potentially tenuous that might have been, given the current situation, given the landscape. If there was outstanding investigations, he had served the warrant, like in August or July or something like that.
Yeah.
So it could be a situation where he thought if there's a firmer corporate structure under a parent company, maybe he thought from his perspective, this would be a bit of a shield in terms of making it harder, especially given the language in the deal as far as the means by which Endeavor or TKO can remove him from his position as chairman. It was like essentially like three circumstances. And he thought, maybe if that's the case, it's written right there in the deal. Anything else, I'm in the clear. But as we've already seen, he probably thought that included, I can maintain my role as overseeing creative. No.
Yeah.
That's gone.
And it is crazy because Meltzer mentions in the article the quote from Ari Emanuel during the CNBC interview where he says, anything related to wrestling, I'm Vince is the
deferring
man.
to Vince, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No. I'm deferring to Triple H, the game.
Yeah.
King of Kings.
The King of Kings, especially now when it comes to creative. Well, he's been knighted. He's not a king, he's knight.
Let's pivot. That is true. Let's pivot to Levesque, to Paul Levesque.
Yeah.
It is fascinating to see the difference between Vince McMahon and Triple H and wrestlers' perceptions of them. People have to camp outside Vince's door to get 15 minutes with the Emperor, and try to pitch story ideas, which were then either shut down or morphed into something like crappy. Versus Triple H, who, look, man, I know there are outliers who have said, yeah, no, and honestly, I think the outliers were simply like, for example, Boogs, who got released and basically said, I was a Vince guy. Triple H didn't see it. And you and I sort of saw that from the beginning when he was never used in NXT.
In NXT at all, no.
But he obviously was a Vince guy because he's muscle upon muscle and he's very comedic and his mannerisms are over the top. He's very cartoonish. And it's a bummer because you and I, we both liked Boogs to a degree. But Triple H, for the most part, him and Stephanie were very popular amongst the wrestlers that they worked with. And it's clear as day as to why now, especially when he does seem to collaborate more with them on what best brings out compelling characters for television. And, allowing wrestlers like FTR to be, back when FTR was the revival in WWE, allowing them to be what they were at their best, which would then enable them, once Vince McMahon wanted to turn them into a comedy act, to go to AEW and become what we all knew they should be, throwbacks to 80s, it's that really, really good 80s tag team wrestling type stuff. And you know, everybody, like whenever anybody, I was listening to an interview with between Chris Van Vliet and Athena, and she talked about, everything changed. It all got crappy once Paul was gone, and we didn't even know why he was gone, but you know, it turns out he was sick, and then he was removed, and that was the thing. Like everybody seemed to enjoy working under Triple H because he brought the best out of them and understood things so much better than Vince does. And it is striking to see the difference between the two of them. Vince McMahon, who sort of thinks he knows best, and Triple H, who wants to bring the best out in collaboration with these wrestlers.
It seems like Vince has a vision for who he wants superstars to be, whereas Triple H sees who the superstars are and then crafts a vision around that.
Right, exactly. It's a great way to
put it. Yeah, we always go back to Vince telling Dean Ambrose, I know who you are, while having zero idea about what makes Jonathan Good, John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, the performer, tick. Like, has no idea what motivates him, seemingly, you know? You go back to anybody who was ever in NXT when Triple H was there, when they talk about that experience, they talk about like it's the family reunion the entire time, you know?
Yeah, they do. They totally do, yeah.
And you know, they're like, we heard stories of Ricochet, or people, I don't know if it's Ricochet for sure, but people going up to Triple H, you know, when they're on the main roster and things didn't operate like they did in NXT and they weren't being utilized their best, and going to Triple H and confiding in him and looking for advice. Yeah. I mean, he really seems to be like a fatherly figure for a lot of people who have been through NXT, and he seems like that same environment now is there on the main roster.
And you got
I can see why that environment would foster a lot more goodwill, a lot higher morale, as opposed to working with Vince, where you got to wait in front of his office. You never know who's going to yell at you. You never know when you're going to upset him and then be in the doghouse. You never know when your creative suddenly going to change.
Yeah, that's the big thing is the creative would just flip like that. He'd get bored with somebody in mid-storyline. Instead of seeing it play out, he would just change things and move things and get rid of people. You got to wonder like how much this is going to affect certain free agents like Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks. If this sort of, you know, and I do think that there will still be a period of time that there will need to be some proof in the actual pudding that he has been removed, and this, you know, is going to be a thing. You know, I imagine there might be some free agents who simply will wait until Vince McMahon is gone from the company and can't come back. But it'll be interesting to see if any of the higher free agents any of the free agents that are out there, especially over the next couple of years when contracts come up at AEW. I mean, I know some of these people signed contracts for like 3 to 5 years or something. Yeah. So it might be a while. But it'll be interesting to see if Triple H is a needle mover when it comes to, you know, people who are reluctant to work with Vince McMahon now seeing, okay, well, Triple H is in charge. Vince is still in the company, but Triple H is in charge.
I think we saw that for a spell with Eric Young, where he came back to WWE and seemed like he was going to be involved in the Bray Wyatt stuff. Vince came back and he was like, nope. Yeah. Not messing with this. Yeah. I think I just read somewhere that he's still in touch with Triple H.
That would be an interesting litmus test to see if Vince McMahon, being in the position he's in now, if Eric Young would come back, that would be interesting because it might give you an idea how other people might think as well.
And you got to think of a lot of wrestlers who were released and subsequently went elsewhere, especially people who were in NXT and got released and went elsewhere. Yeah. If it seems like, all right, Triple H is in charge and he's in charge for good, and the specter of Vince doesn't seem to be as prominent as it was, you know, prior to when he came back. Yeah. Would they feel more comfortable? All right, let's give this WWE thing another try.
Or even people from, let's say, New Japan or Impact, for that matter, who were reluctant to come in the first place because they look in the mirror and they say, I'm not sure Vince is going to treat me the way I think I should be treated, as opposed to Triple H, who, you know, he's got the finger on the pulse of what's going on out there. You know, free agents who haven't been in WWE, would they now be more interested in going there with Triple H at the helm? Because it's like, oh man, this guy, you know, look at what he did back with the Black and Gold brand. Look at what he's doing with Johnny Gargano now, and Tommaso Ciampa back in the company, and in what seems like it's going to be a prominent role. So yeah, interesting to keep an eye on that. Before we get on to our next story, Larson, would you like to pay some bills?
Let's do it. Let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Steve.
Yes.
You know what? It's a huge fight. It's going down tomorrow.
No.
Today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday. I'm talking about lightweight champ Islam Makhachev taking on featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski tomorrow, Saturday, UFC 294 for the lightweight championship.
Oh, man. And no matter who you got winning, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing epic action to you. New customers can bet just $5 to land $200 instantly in bonus bets.
Yeah, I just pulled up the DraftKings Sportsbook app right here on my phone, and I'm checking it out. I think they probably it looks like they updated the betting odds, the current lines. So what are you waiting for? Not only do we have the betting odds here for the main event, but the rest of the cards. So again, I ask you, what are you waiting for? Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code RAW. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's code RAW, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/MMA. Terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. All right, man, let's move on to the next story. And it has to do with...
You're excited about.
Dude, what the heck is happening over there? I love whenever there's a new title. I don't care if it's an ugly... Man, my favorite title to debut over the last couple of years, that New Japan television title.
Oh, you love that thing.
So ugly. It's amazing. It is gorgeous. I want a replica of that.
Steve, what's better than one new title?
Oh, multiples. Two.
Talk tag titles here. So we've seen WWE unveil a bunch of new titles, new men's, women's world titles for Raw and SmackDown already this year. But could the WWE tag titles get a refresh as well? According to our good friendos over there at Cultaholic, that could be the case. They're reporting the following, quote, a source within WWE has revealed to Cultaholic Wrestling that possible new tag team title belt designs were photo and video tested during rehearsals. The October 16th episode of Monday Night Raw in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. That was just this Monday. The rehearsal was a title belt reveal over the course of 30 minutes. The titles were on a table in the middle of the ring with a production assistant removing the cloth to reveal them. Two possible sets of new tag team title belts with radically different designs were tested. One set of belts was all gold with black straps. The other that was screen tested featured a gold and silver design with one red and one blue strap.
So one of the tag titles had red and one of the tag titles had blue.
So it seems like they're keeping, if this is the case, unified tag titles.
I would think because the Cultaholic article goes on to say that, it seems like this is probably pending final approval. Mm-hmm. Seeing what they look like on television makes sense. But yeah, it absolutely seems like if you're going to have, the biggest clue there is one set of tag titles, one with a blue strap, one with a red strap. Those tag teams are going to be cross-brand.
Yep.
And I think that works. I honestly think that works. I think that when you see the storyline possibilities of, for example, Cody and Jay getting the tag titles. Oh, now this allows Cody to go to SmackDown, and it forces Jay to go to SmackDown where he has to confront the Bloodline. I know that's a unique situation. However, I do think that having that bridge between the brands with the tag titles, I don't think that's a terrible idea. I think that they obviously do have a beefy tag division. But, like I've said a million times, as long as you can find good stories for everybody, the actual titles are kind of just another element as opposed to the end all be all. I think that's awesome. I wish they would go a bit more custom with them and let the Judgment Day have purple tag titles. But
absolutely.
But
all purple.
And it seems like they're going to stick. So like recently with the World Heavyweight Championships and the World Heavyweight Championships, they've had the gold and silver on the same plate with a little bit of black trim on it.
So I wonder if one design is closer to the World Heavyweight Championship and the other more so the Undisputed title.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that could be. Yeah,
so you hear the gold and silver, and you would think, "Oh, World Heavyweight title," because that's what it's got, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the other one would kind of look like if they went completely the other way, then it'd just be like the old like the old Universal titles. How there was like a red one, and then like Bray turned into a blue one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what these look like.
Indeed.
I don't know.
Hopefully
I just like them out.
Soon.
It's such a non-news thing, but I love new titles. I really.
Oh
do,
yeah.
You know.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Freshen it up. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about this.
The thing about the current tag titles, here, let me get this out, is that they're still based on the old penny tag titles. And those titles aren't great looking belts.
I'm not a huge fan of them. I'm not. No. Here's the one thing, though, is that no matter what they debut, no matter what they bust out with, somebody on WWE 2K is going to come out with like a slightly superior version. That's how it always happens. Man, when they unveiled that mustard title for Roman, I went on WWE 2K. No, I think it was just on Twitter. Somebody had like shown somebody's like other design. And it's like the same basic thing.
Flip the plate, the color scheme of the plate.
I don't know. It was like, the WW was like in gold, I think, and the back plate was like black, and like oh man, it looks so good, but it is what it is, you know.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah, it looks good.
It is what it is.
Anyways, let's talk about Randall Keith Orton, as you like to call him.
Orton.
Yeah, he might be coming back. So last week, Fightful reported that WWE was planning on having him make a return to the company by this year's Survivor Series, which is like a month away.
Yeah.
Today, WrestleVote stated this. Regarding the Randy Orton return rumors, sources stated new merchandise and branding has been approved. I'm going to assume, this is me editorializing, there's going to be a lot of Viper imagery.
You think so?
Like a render of a snake and then him going like this or some shit like that.
Something like that, yeah.
WrestleVotes continues. Also, WWE will present a large social media promotion / digital material for the comeback. So they're going to tweet a bunch. It's indeed happening, likely Survivor Series or that weekend. So some confirmation or some additional confirmation from WrestleVotes.
Yeah, I mean, he's been out since last May because of his back surgery. And there's even some doubt whether he'd be able to come back given the nature of the injury, the surgery that followed, and I would imagine performing RKOs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
You know, taking bumps on top of that. So, you know, it's good to hear these come back. He was doing some of the best work of his career prior to leaving.
For sure, yeah.
Now that Matt Riddle's no longer in the company, obviously can't do the RK Bro reunion or feud. What are they going to do with Randall Keith Orton? Is it going to be feud with Cody? Is he going to be feuding with Roman? Because we haven't seen that yet. You know, since we've got Bloodline Roman, what do they have on tap for Randall Keith Orton, Steve?
Well, given that, I would imagine, dude, he's probably on relatively limited time. I mean, going through something as serious as what it seemed like he went through, I don't know how many more years he would have left on that body of his. So you would think that maybe, just maybe, this would be a bit of a farewell tour. Yeah. And if that's the case, he's got to do a Roman program. I mean, that's a no-brainer because Orton's going to be massively over when he comes back.
Yep.
And Orton's one of those guys, he can't just be interesting by himself. He needs something good to work with.
Yeah.
And Roman is that guy. You know, Orton in the bloodline and then being able to team up with the guy who's eventually going to beat Roman, Cody. Of course, their history together. You don't want them feuding against each other. You don't want the crowd turning on Cody. They might do that with Orton.
Nah, I don't know about that.
But
Orton goes around and starts punting people in the head. I don't think that's a concern.
People love that. You know, they'll one more time.
Except
one more time.
Cody. No, they won't do that with Cody.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It was funny. I was on Instagram and I thought maybe it ended yesterday. Oh no, here it is. Riddle had Riddle had a picture on Instagram of him like just in his home gym, you know, looking cut, and like the song that's being played is Dirt Nasty Suck My D. He's got tough guy face. Suck my D. So yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, a Roman feud for sure.
Yeah, makes all sense,
A Cody alliance against Judgment Day, probably.
Yeah.
Just give him all the good stuff that's there. It'll be interesting to see how Triple H handles a guy who's, again, done everything.
Oh yeah,
not a lot of new for him to do.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Give me 5, because I know this will be a question. 5 feuds for Randy Orton upon his return.
Roman, obviously.
Yeah.
I think they could do a Cody feud. They do a nefarious heel Randall Keith Orton again, where he's punting people in the head. They could do that.
You think a Gunther feud would be a good one?
Yeah, they put on some good matches.
Yeah.
I know Orton doesn't exactly always put on the most exciting matches, but he's put on some really good matches. He's like one of the most fundamentally sound wrestlers they got.
I think that would be a lot of fun, him and Gunther.
Yeah, him and Gunther. I mean, we've seen it a lot. Him and Seth.
Yeah. That's another dangerous one. I know let me ask you this. What's your read on Seth? The live crowd still loves Seth. They still sing a song.
Yeah.
Not quite as loud as they used to, maybe?
No, I just kind of feel like
he needs to chase it. They need to do a Bianca. Have him lose it, go away, come back, and chase it.
Chase. I know. He's much better as doing the chase as opposed to holding the title.
Mm-hmm.
He's a much better prospective champion as champion. Drew, we've seen that too. Never mind, Drew and Randy Orton. We've seen that plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, who else on SmackDown could he feud with? What about Orton and Bobby Lashley? Have we seen that?
I'm sure we have, but that sounds cool. I'm down with that. But again, I know Lashley's like supposed to be a bad guy, but people don't really boo him. People actually love him
because him and Street Profits are doing cool stuff.
Because he's just a badass.
What about Randy Orton and Logan Paul?
I mean, at some point I got to use the bathroom during some of these premium live events, so that match could work for me. Yeah,
that's when you go look at the merch, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's what I call my bathroom. I don't go to the shows.
No,
I'm here
exactly.
with you, man.
I'm here with you. I know.
Yeah, see Logan Paul. Oh, isn't Logan Paul going to be on SmackDown tonight?
Yeah, he's going to confront Rey Mysterio. That's going to be the U.S. title match, I would imagine, for Crown Jewel.
Crown Royal. They might give him the U.S. title. What was the last match? Did he win his last match there?
Yeah, he beat Ricochet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He wins the U.S. title and holds it till WrestleMania when LA Knight beats him for it.
Oh, yeah, that could work. Oh, that could totally work. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the poster for the Crown Royal show? Oh, that looks good, man. That looks really good. Yeah. They should have put something in the sunglasses for LA Knight, though.
I know.
I don't know what.
Logan Paul holding the U.S. title.
Wow. People are like, what the fuck? This is what?
It's foreshadowing.
I mean, it's like,
long-term storytelling.
I guess so. Anyways, you want to answer some questions? We put up a couple of questions. Hey, before we do that, though, want to point this out really quick. The Week of Champions 3 is coming on strong.
Oh, yeah.
In a couple of weeks, it begins with the Saudi Arabia show. That's going to be cool because we'll be able to eat some McGriddles because usually it's in the morning.
It's the morning for us, I know.
Right. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be part of our predictions challenge for November. It's going to be a bonus challenge, which allows you to get an advantage heading into Week of Champions 3, which includes AEW's Full Gear and WWE Survivor Series. That's going to be a lot of fun. The way to participate is simple. You go to patreon.com/Steven Larson, sign up for the $5 and up a month tier, or click join on YouTube. It's also $5 a month. It's a great way to help support Going in Raw. Plus, you get bonus episodes, which you do every once in a while, and you get access to these question threads as well. So be sure to check that stuff out, and go ahead and give them the spiel. We're really asking for your help here.
Yeah, we really are. So we're on the road to 891 subscribers. It's a palindrome number. I can't really explain why. We just find palindrome numbers fun.
Yeah.
And we want to achieve those as benchmarks for sub goals. So right now the goal is, as mentioned, 198,891 subscribers. Right now we're about 656 subs away from reaching that goal. Mm-hmm. Every sub counts. Mm-hmm. So if you could, please consider, if you like what you see, you like what you hear, subscribe to Steven Larson's Going in Raw WWE and AEW podcast. here at the channel, and hit that notify bell while you're at it. Really hoping by the end of the year, get 198,891 subscribers. That would really make our day and make 2023 a great success for Stephen Larson's Going In Raw WWE and AEW podcast.
I love when
while you're hitting buttons.
Yeah.
After you hit that subscribe button, why don't you go on over the like button? It looks like a thumbs up.
Yeah.
We like those too. Ideally, well, we're not live streaming this one. We do the live stream. We want 200 likes before the stream is over. Otherwise, the stream's a disappointment.
It's an absolute disappointment.
It's an absolute disappointment. But since this isn't a stream, this is an upload.
Yeah.
Give us all the likes.
Yeah.
If you only have one like a day, consider giving it to our video, please. Thank you.
Please give it to Stephen Larson's Going In Raw WWE and AEW podcast. I love when we get business emails, and it's like obviously a form template. It's like, hey, how's it going, Stephen Larson's Going In Raw WWE and AEW podcast? We really love your work. Would you consider an outside editor for Stephen Larson's Going In Raw WWE and AEW podcast?
I know. It's fantastic.
It's like, that's not my name. It's the name of the channel. It's just it's a search engine.
Exactly. SEO.
SEO. God damn it. So, yeah.
That's why it's called that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you want to answer the questions now?
Yeah, let's answer. Let's read these questions, and then we'll answer the questions.
Let's do it. Nikal here asked, power rank your top 5 greatest Sting moments over his 4-decade-long career. Number 1.
Yeah.
And it's so well encapsulated in that one picture. It's Sting, and it's RoboCop.
Oh, yeah. For me, it's Sting with the Sting mask on, and he takes it off, and it's Sting underneath.
Sting underneath. That was going to be number 1 for me at first, but I remembered,
yeah,
Sting and RoboCop was a thing. So that's number 1. 1A, 1B. Also, when they were going to unveil the statue of Seth Rollins, instead they unveiled Sting under when he made his WWE debut.
Oh, I forgot about that. I'll have to watch that again. That sounds great. I can't believe that you're leaving out 100 Jeff Jarrett's.
100 Jeff Jarrett's.
Yeah, that's up there. Of course, he was part of the August 1 warning.
He was.
With his wraparounds.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Genuinely, it's the moment when he recognized and informed Darby that his TNT title reign was over against Miro.
That's my absolute. That might be my number 1 AEW moment, besides maybe Cody and Andrade and the Flaming Table. But yeah, that moment in AEW was like, oh man, if you guys try for moments like these, then you're gonna have a really cool company on your hand. Yeah, that moment against Miro was really awesome. I've loved his AEW run. I really have. I think it's been phenomenal. And but yeah, no, honestly, he was one of the things back in 1996, 1997, and I guess 97 is when I really started getting into wrestling, because I'd go over to Jeff's house, or sometimes your house and Nate's house, and we watched the old WCW shows and pay-per-views, Nitro and all that. And it was when he was in the rafters, and it was like, who's this Crow dude? This is cool. This is neat. And then you like watch, you go, but you watch that stuff, and then you like look in, at the history of it. It's like, oh, what? He used to be this dude with like a surfer cut. Cause I never knew, I always sort of was mildly aware before I liked wrestling. I was always aware of Hogan, Macho Man, all that stuff. Yeah. I never knew shit about WCW. Yeah. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. I really didn't either.
And so, yeah, all the Sting stuff was really cool. It's like for 18 months or something. He didn't wrestle. He just would show up and beat the shit out of the NWO and go away, or they would cut to
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, yeah.
Yeah.
So just his presence, like, fuck, when I got into it, he wasn't even wrestling. He was just like hanging out in the rafters a bunch.
Yeah. Remember that time awesome. He had like an eagle or a bird of prey on his arm. He was up there.
That was cool. He was probably all nervous. Yeah. But then when he joined like the Wolfpack NWO, that was awesome too.
It was, because Wolfpack seemed like it was pretty cool.
Like the greasiest, like red face paint on.
I know.
Looks
silly. Wolfpack had such a good theme song.
He had the goatee for like a half second.
Yeah. B Cops here asked, do you think Edge's run in AEW would feel a little bit less stale if they had him heel from the jump and aligned with Christian, or do you think he's best used as a babyface?
I was reading one of those wrestling Twitter accounts, Trevor Dame.
Yeah.
And he was saying, and he was breaking down why he thinks this iteration of Edge is so stale. And he was just, going through the story beats like, okay, so he comes back, his whole thing is Christian's always been under my shadow, or in my shadow rather. And so I come back, he's on a great run, but I want to team with him again so he can be in my shadow again. Like the whole thing just smacks of like self-importance and like an obliviousness to like, the everything. And so it's all very, so it's like, no, he's on a great run. People love him because he's entertaining and you're just whining about it.
I know.
Sorry, what was the question?
No, I mean, it was like, do you think Edge's run would be better or feel less stale if he was a heel from the jump? I think it's important if they want to have the Christian Edge reunion, they tell the story of that happening rather than just giving it to us. Because I think it'd be more impactful if there's a road to get there. But I'm going to take a detour. I can't remember who it was, but I saw something else on social media. I don't think it was Trevor Dame. It might have been somebody else. Saying that Edge keeps on going on and about, oh, Christian, be careful. Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne are just using you, and once they're done using you, they're going to kick you to the curb. And it's like, that's not exactly the dynamic.
Right, yeah.
If anything, it's the other way around.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I think Trevor Dame said the exact same thing as well.
Okay, maybe that's where I saw it then. Where Christian is the one that's using Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus to help him achieve his goals in Edge.
Yeah.
So it's like a complete misreading of the situation from Edge.
So speaking of misreading, I understand that Tony Khan probably felt, oh, Edge is going to show up. It's going to be a huge pop that people are going to go big for him. I'm sorry, but there's nothing in Edge's history in WWE that would suggest that. He's never been a big needle mover. He just isn't. He's a good depth name, and I don't mean that as a guy who can come in and should get a lot of losses. He's a good name to have on your roster because he's so polished. He's so professional. I would imagine he's awesome backstage with everybody. Mm-hmm. And he's a guy who you can slot him in and you're not going to get like everybody talking about him, but he's a good name to beef up your roster.
Yeah.
As like a name for like name value. Oh, I remember Edge. Yeah, he was cool. That gives your company credibility. But because you're not going to get a sustained bump from him, why not bring him in immediately and have him join the most entertaining act in wrestling? Have him be a heel with Christian. And I think that's probably more fun for everybody.
I'll tell you why, because Edgy Adams is going to bring Christian down.
Bring him to, what do you mean? Oh, if they did that, he would make Christian more lame. I don't know. Like, I guess, look, there's absolutely a case to be made for that. But my case for the opposite is watch the Edge and Christian show. They're so much fun together, regardless of what they're doing. They're just so much fun together.
And who's to say how much of that Christian is responsible for? I'm going to say a lot of it. Chad knows more. Says, if Edgy Adam is the Pearl Jam of pro wrestling, what band is Christian?
Okay, what band has been around for a really long time?
This is the best answer I came up with when I first read this question. And it's not like I'm terribly a huge fan of this band, but I could see some parallels. U2.
Oh,
U2 exceptionally popular in the 80s. They went on a path, and then in the late 90s, early aughts, we're like, we're going to do what we want, regardless if it's popular or not.
Yeah.
And it's entirely possible they lost some of their fans who liked what they used to do. Then they took what they decided at the moment, we're going to take what worked best for us in the past, synthesize that into something a little new and different, and we're going to push forward with that. I mean, I feel like U2 these days is not too far removed from Pearl Jam in that they're kind of boring mid-tempo
that's the
rock
thing.
Music.
Yeah.
But I feel like at that period where that I can't remember what the album was called, their comeback album, if you will. Because it kind of feels like a lot where Christian's taking elements of what he did in the past that worked really well, synthesizing it all together, and it's really good.
Yeah, but who had a late career? Because, man, I don't know. Christian's doing stuff now that was never, that I don't think was in his wheelhouse before. I mean, I could be wrong about that. But what band had like a late career shift where they were like the most fucking relevant thing there was?
That doesn't happen very often.
It's not very often at all. I know. I agree.
I mean, there's times where bands have been around for a while and they'll pivot and they'll have a lot of commercial success. I'm talking about like a band like Aerosmith, who were around since the mid 70s. And then the early aughts started writing like pop rock songs and got wildly popular and made tons of money.
That is actually, in my opinion, that's actually a really good example. because they were popular, and then they did like a lot of nothing. Like there was a period of time, it was just drugs. I think there's they had like a drug period where like they were,
and then like
shit.
in '88 or something, they had Permanent Vacation.
'86, they had like the big Run DMC collaboration, and then like after that, it was like man, they were off and going.
They got popular again, but then they pivoted to write more popular music. I think they had what's the guy's name that helped Alanis Morissette write most of the songs on her first album?
Were they using him for all like the
they worked with
Crying
him
and
for a stretch,
Crazy and stuff like that? Interesting. Yeah, I think I like the Aerosmith reference. I think that's a good one.
All right. Chad's also asked, who is the Nirvana of wrestling?
Oh, geez. Oh, this doesn't really work. Like the first thing that came to mind was Pillman, but Pillman had such a lengthy career prior to him being the loose cannon.
Yeah.
Who got hot? Like, because they were hot like as soon as they dropped.
Well, there's Bleach. That was, it wasn't
one
like
album
it was
before.
overnight success.
Well, did they get together like 89?
Well, that's when
88
Bleach,
or 89.
probably a couple years prior. It was probably 87 or so like that. Kurt Cobain was trying to get music projects off the ground for years prior towards.
I'll go with Pillman. I'll say Pillman. They're Brian Pillman.
Darby Allin.
There you go.
JR Jr., with the year coming to a close, any front runners for Going in Raw Wrestler of the Year? The Kingdom.
Yeah. Oh, in terms of Going in Raw Wrestler of the Year?
Yeah. I assume the Baron Corbin Award.
Terrible. Yeah, the Baron Corbin Award. Yeah. So like Goofy Wrestler. Man, I'd really have to think about this. God, I'd really have to put some thought into that. Nobody stands out like really hardcore. Maybe Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
Maybe Jeff Jarrett. He won the Texas Chainsaw Massacre match.
Yeah. That might make him the front runner now.
Yeah. Let me get some off the YouTube here. DJ Glade says, it seems like we're getting Cody versus Roman and Jay versus Jimmy at Mania. What should WWE do with Solo?
If John Cena is going to stick around, if the actor strike continues, and it seems like Cena's going to be able to stick around till WrestleMania, you have John Cena versus Solo Sikoa at WrestleMania.
I like that. I find it kind of hard to believe that the actor strike is going to keep on going through April.
I'd be surprised too.
So, like, who's a good other? You could do Orton. Have Orton put him over.
Yeah.
He needs Solo needs a big WrestleMania win. He gets wins until he doesn't. You know what I mean?
I know. B-Man here says, what are the top 5 women's matches in AEW's history? Also, what is the first women's match that comes to mind when you think of Impact?
So, I don't know about 5, but clearly like Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker.
Lights out match,
yeah. The lights out.
And then Anna Jay and Ty Conti had their lights out match with
that was really good
too. Bunny. That was really good.
Yeah.
Sheeta and Jamie Hayter had a really good match.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, Emi Sakura and Sheeta's match on Dynamite this week was awesome.
That was really good. What's the first match that comes to mind when I think Impact?
First women's match you think of?
Yeah. I don't know, like probably something more recent, like one of the Jordan Grace Masha matches. Those were really good.
Those were really good.
The
first
really
one was
good.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm not that up to date. Like I've only seen like clips of the Knockouts matches from like their heyday.
Yeah,
but they got some really terrific wrestlers there these days.
Absolutely.
Dave Mutucci, considering the tag titles are getting a makeover, which design of those belts are your favorite?
Of the tag titles?
Yeah, what's been your favorite tag titles?
I think I have it right here.
I think you have one. I think you got it there. Shuffling about.
Dusty.
Yeah. Oh, look, those are good ones. I don't know if there's ever been like iconic tag title designs that I've been like, oh, god damn it, pal, those are great. The one you put up is probably the best one. But
what about the shield that the 2 pieces of the shield or something that Progress used to have?
It was interesting.
It's something different.
It was different. Yeah. Not into it, but it was different.
It was different. Mikey 7G asks, would Rhea Ripley moving up to the men's division diminish the women's division?
Okay, so philosophically, there's a case to be made that you're saying that the women can't compete on the level with the men if one of the women moves up to the men's division. I could see that. I don't agree with it, but I could see a case being made. I think that somebody who clears out a division and then moves to a different division that's kind of cool. You know, if she says there's nothing left for me here, until there is somebody there, go and take on a different challenge. It could be framed as a different challenge, not a bigger challenge.
Spilled water over myself. Yes, that's correct.
I spilled water on myself. John Hosey, the first 2-time Big Blue Predictions champion, says, do you guys like when wrestling shows go to picture-in-picture when they need to air commercials, or are the commercials still too distracting? And guess what? I don't watch the picture-in-picture. I fast-forward during that time because most of the time I'm watching on DVR.
Ideally, what they do is have the commercial with no audio in the little box, have a match with audio in the larger box.
Oh, that'd be innovative. That
would be the ideal. Silent commercials. Just shut the fuck up commercials. Exactly.
Let's see here. Bucket Dipper says, who's a current depth guy you'd like to see built up to face Roman next year? Karrion Kross.
Bronson Reed.
They need to do something with that guy's character, man. We got to do a count out.
Agree.
Top 10 people, Triple H, now that he's got the book fully, they need to work on their characters. Austin Theory, Bronson Reed.
Great idea. Bit of a long title.
We'll workshop it, okay?
Very well. Sorry, I had to do that. Accursed Hawk says, has John Cena's return run so far been underwhelming? He has had only one televised.
On your face, man. I'm going to Photoshop that booger on your face.
I got to do a check real quick. He's only had one televised match where he got beat up for most of it and has been involved in the same bloodline story. Cena's run is not about getting John Cena over; it's about getting other people over.
Well,
John
it's about
Cena's
getting LA Knight over.
John Cena is the utility guy now.
Yeah. He's LA Knight's biggest fan. That's who he is now, and it's kind of amazing.
So if you're expecting him to come out there and Lil Cena wins, not going to happen. That's not the point of this run, because at any moment, poof, he could be gone because the actor strike would end.
In real life,
when that happens, he's out of there.
In real life and in kayfabe, he is simply there to cheerlead other people. Yeah. It's kind of awesome.
Like he literally asked for permission from the crowd to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Justin Sider asks, if there was a modern day brawl for all, who picks up the surprising win?
A modern day brawl for all. You got to think Baron Corbin's got a good chance.
He's a former. Well, I think he would be like an odds-on favorite because he's a former Golden Gloves champ. So
all
right.
He can
box.
All right. Well,
I think someone like him, like Nakamura, who's got MMA experience.
Mm-hmm.
Lashley, if he were in it. Like the major names that have MMA or boxing experience, you'd think, yes, they would win. I think the surprising win is someone who, as far as we know, has no boxing experience, has no MMA experience, just like a legit tough dude who knows how to fight.
So it'd be like surprising that they won.
Yeah, exactly.
AJ Styles.
Shoot phenomenal forearms for everybody. Huh?
Man, I got to send you. I saw this clip on Twitter. Somebody said, oh, this is AJ Styles when he busts out a phenomenal. And it was some sort of like trampoline foam pit facility.
Yeah.
And this kid, I don't know what he sprang on, but he comes like a fucking bullet out of a gun, and he lands and he just annihilates this other teenager. They're two teenagers. Yeah. I don't know how this other kid got up because, oh my God, he came at him with the force of God. It was crazy.
Wapa, huh?
Yeah, big time.
Blake Whitehouse asks, what are your wildest predictions for Bound for Glory tomorrow? Are we going to watch Bound for Glory tomorrow?
Saturday.
No. All right. Let's double check.
No, we do need to put together a stronger Twitch programming schedule.
Yeah, I guess we got to get back to that, huh?
Our Twitch has fallen down the toilet. That's something, it has been this week, especially. It's been a bit tough. I had my dad's burial went down the other day with the full military stuff. And so sometimes, it's just the two of us. And sometimes there's going to be weeks when we're just like, hey, let's get through the podcast. We don't have to worry about the news briefs. Friendo Club can wait till next week.
We'll
and this
regroup
is
next
just one
week,
of,
exactly.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I would like to brainstorm a bit more with you in terms of Twitch, what to do on Thursday nights, or if we want to move that night to a different one. Because I'd like to beef up that that platform a little bit for the friendos.
Definitely.
But as far as Impact tomorrow, I don't know what time. It's like from 5 to 8 probably.
5, I think. Yeah, probably 5 to 8. They run pretty tight shows over there. Phil might show up. I mean, he probably won't, but it's in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't do a Punk Daily on Impact offering him a contract.
There you go. There's your
Punk Daily. Where's my Punk Daily overlay? Here it is. Punk Daily. All right, that's going to do it for the show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye.
Punk Daily.